Hello and welcome back to Vox Terra. Today I want to start with a headline from National Public Radio. A third of Pakistan is underwater in catastrophic floods, August 30th, 2022. Remember that, a third of Pakistan underwater. 33 million people affected, massive displacement, and over 1,000 deaths. Now, it is my experience that typically our media does not cover or connect back these extreme events to fossil fuel-initiated climate change, but in the case of this NPR article, they did. Officials call the Pakistan floods that killed over 1,000 a climate nightmare. August 29th, NPR. From that article, this has been the most torrential rain recorded since records began in 1918. Okay, remember that, the most torrential rain since records began in 1918. Well, that ties in with my earlier video at the start of summer about the heat waves hitting that region and really much of the world, and links I've shared with you in the past to NASA, NOAA, Natural Resources Defense Council, that this heating planet, this hotter atmosphere, just retains more moisture, holds onto it longer, and is now letting it down more frequently in heavy downpours. Next, a change in climate means changing storm patterns. The monsoon patterns have changed, and the rain is coming in places where it doesn't normally go. And in this case, monsoons hitting places where the people are not prepared. We see that pattern playing out worldwide. For example, in the United States, Tornado Alley has been shifting eastward, where people are not prepared. Next issue, snowpack melt. In Pakistan's far north, where the Himalayas are, there's a lot of glaciers, and they're melting faster than ever because of climate change, and that's swelling up the rivers. So another factor adding to these floods is that melting snowpack, in addition to the hotter atmosphere retaining more moisture. But even more ominous, in my opinion, think about how much of the world depends on snowpack for their fresh water supply. As the world is losing those snowpacks, we're losing fresh water supply, the ability to grow crops. In the south, there's around 2 million acres of cropland are now underwater. 2 million acres of cropland underwater in Pakistan. Well, in an earlier video this summer, I cited for you an article about how those heat waves devastated the mango crop in India, as well as their wheat. Well, this extreme weather, the heat has been killing crops all summer, including livestock. Think about the US and that incident with those heat bursts killing cattle. Well, let's bring it back to inflation. In that earlier video on India, I showed you that devastation of the mango crop, that heat-driven devastation, raised mango prices worldwide. So we have an aggressive foreign policy as well as climate disruption initiated by all this excessive consumerism, and those are going to drive prices up more in the future and create more shortages and scarcities. Yet when the media goes on about inflation, they tend to leave that out, almost begging, in the case of America, the public to kick out the Democrats and give the Republicans a shot, not highlighting that what their main focus will be, as it has been in the past, is cutting taxes for wealthy corporations, deregulating environmental protections, and really going even harder in support of that fossil fuel industry. Well, that's what's getting us into this mess. And lastly, regarding this devastating flood really hitting Pakistan, citing CNN and elsewhere, Pakistan emits less than 1% of the world's emissions, but I've heard it described as being at ground zero for climate change. Well, one, that gives you a clue of when people are talking about climate refugees, what this looks like. Two, think about subsistence farmers and how Pakistan has a large percentage of subsistence farmers. Well, these are the people who are not really contributing much to climate change. So now we're getting into these idea about what they call climate justice, and those who have contributed the least to the problem are going to get hit the hardest, or are getting hit the hardest. But also take it a step further and think about the nature of our economy. This economy, as it's set up, just encouraging people to consume and buy whether they need it or don't, pumping our earth full of carcinogens and greenhouse gases, is actually undermining people's ability to earn a living for themselves, earning it off of the land. And lastly, when you hear media reports talk about other countries, but not your country, being at ground zero for climate change, or they're going to get hit the hardest, putting it that way almost serve to take some of the edge off of our activism and make us more like those frogs in that boiling pot of water, less likely to demand a transition away from this heavy consumerist economy. Well, hey, I hope you found this video highlighting some of the devastation of Pakistan, explaining those climate change mechanisms and the economic and political implications helpful, interesting, And if so, please make sure you're subscribed to my channel, you're clicking that notification bell, you're liking, you're commenting. Sincere constructive criticism is welcome. And please join my other 2 patrons at Patreon. Thank you, Belle Lagrissi and Environmental Coffee House. These videos have taken a lot of time for me to put together. This is actually my 4th take on this one. And as always, until next time, peace be with you.